Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. We're going to have a smoothie this morning, of course, and I also wanted to answer some questions. These particular two folks, I couldn't answer your question, I guess because of the way it came through, either on a smartphone or some which way. Anyway, in the community on my site, it wouldn't let me reply. So I wanted to answer those. And now this is from Bohista Nordica. That's her call name, I guess. It might be her real name or his, I'm not sure. But anyway, they ask, where did I get directions for Roman shades? There were no directions, y'all. When I first made the first Roman shade, first of all, I'm not even sure we even had a computer back then. But anyway, and I don't know if there were any patterns you could get. I really don't remember. But the way I learned to make Roman shades was by looking at one. And there are a lot of different types that you can make. Some of them just have a seam down two places in them, and you pull them up and they make a little puffy kind of thing at the top of the window. Those are cute too, by the way. I don't really think that kind's in style right now, but it used to be. But anyway, I just had to figure it out on my own. But I do think you can get patterns now, and they also give directions on a lot of YouTubes and probably websites too now. But the thing with Roman shades, you have to be exact on your measurements. That's what makes them so hard. Now, I've made several Roman shades in other houses and all, even the rental houses, and so I decided to make a Roman shade for the den back here. Now the den's got 4 windows, 3 on one wall. So I had this brilliant idea that I would make a Roman shade to fit all 3 windows, and that way I could pull them all up at one time. They didn't fit inside the window, they fit outside. So I proceeded to get some nice material, y'all. It was nice. And got the lining and everything, and I measured and was so exacting with everything. And they turned out pretty good, except because the material was so heavy, it was, when you pulled them up, you had to go like that, like you were pulling on a rope. They were terrible. So that lasted maybe a year, and I finally said, this is way too hard. There must be a better way to do this. So I took them down, and I actually think because there was so much material there, I used the material to recover a chair of some type here in the house. But anyway, that didn't last long, y'all. So making them to fit on the inside of the window is much, much harder. And the one thing you absolutely have to have is a T-square, like they use for carpentry, so that you're sure everything is the right angle or whatever. And because if you don't, and you get them a little off, they'll hang kind of lopsided, and then you have to pull them up at the top and staple that and all kinds of stuff. Now, I never made the kind, well, no, yeah, I did too. I made the kind with the Velcro over the top so you can pull it off and wash it or whatever. And I made those for the 2 windows in here, and again, instead of making them inside the window, I made one big one across, but this was only 2 windows, so it was easier to pull up. But I made them out of a tapestry, and it had different things like cinnamon and different spices woven in there. It was real pretty. And back then, we didn't have sheetrock here in the kitchen. We had all that knotty pine paneling, and I was doing everything I could to distract from the paneling because I hated it, and it made it like a cave in here. It was so dark because the cabinets were the knotty pine too. And so anyway, I made it, and I liked that one, and it wasn't as hard to pull up. And then I sold it at a garage sale. Yeah, the people loved it because it would fit any really double window in almost any kitchen, and they loved it and bought it. And of course, as soon as I sold it at the garage sale, I regretted selling it, y'all. but it was nice, and I had used a Velcro at the top so you could take it down and wash it because it was in the kitchen. And but anyway, this nice lady bought it, and that was that. It was gone. So anyway, so I hope that answers that question. I really didn't have any kind, I had to figure it out on my own is what I'm trying to tell you. And there was some trial and error there. I didn't get it right the first time, I can tell you. Anyway, and another question came from Lana. She's in Florida, and she asked what vegetables we would be growing in the garden. So for sure we're going to have white half runners. They're green beans, and you can grow them up on wire, and they're a real mild green bean. We really love them. And of course we're going to have some cucumbers, and my favorite, speckled butter beans. And I'm going to go ahead, y'all, and plant some squash and zucchini again. And this time I'm going to use a Q-tip and fertilize the little things myself. Because on squash, and I guess zucchini are the same way, the first blooms that come out are usually male blooms. And the way you can tell the male bloom is you'll have the bloom and you have almost a little bulb, like say this is the bloom. You'll have kind of a little bulb on the little stem, and then the females, they don't have that kind of round little bulge in the stem. It's not little, it's big. You can definitely tell the difference. So that would be the male flower, and then the female doesn't have that. So I'm going to use Q-tips and fertilize them myself since we have a problem with no honeybees. Anyway, I did talk to our extension, the Clemson Extension Service, our local office here, and they said there were several farmers around in our county that had large boxes, I guess, of honeybees, but they haven't made it to our little garden, y'all. So anyway, that's what we're going to do, and so that sort of answers the question. The other thing is, of course, we're going to have a smoothie this morning, and the apples, I got a good deal. These were like $3.99, and I think it was a 10-pound bag. Now these apples are from Washington State, and of course this is April, and the time for apples would be in the fall of the year. So these had been stored, and some of them aren't as crispy as others are, but it was still a good deal, y'all. So I went ahead and peeled 2 of them for the smoothie this morning. I do peel them because they're not organic, but let me show you. There are going to be some little places. There's a little nick, and there's one right there. And what that is where the stems of different apples kind of hit each other and jog the skin. And I also, now these were not a good deal, y'all. The Gala, which I love, and I love to cook these, and so Mr. Bucky and I can have a little bowl of cooked apples as a dessert. Put a little sugar and a little butter and just a little dash of cinnamon, and they cook pretty quick, so I usually fix them when I'm cooking whatever. So, speaking of cooking, I also had a question on did I have a recipe for gumbo. Alright, I have my recipe for gumbo, y'all. And I know in Louisiana and New Orleans, every recipe for gumbo is different, but some of the basic ingredients are all the same. So we're going to do that today. We're going to make chicken gumbo, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a big pot of it, and we'll have it for probably, I'd say at least 3 meals, maybe 4. So that would be probably 8 servings, maybe even 10. But anyway, I love gumbo. I just haven't made it in a while, and I'm sure I haven't done a video on it. If I have, I'm just doing another one, y'all. Alright, so the smoothie this morning. Putting some basics in, we're having 4 dates to sweeten everything, 2 cubes of almond butter, 2 cubes of coconut pulp, 3 cubes of cream of wheat and oatmeal, and I just cooked that together. That's the steel cut oats. It takes, I think, about 25 minutes to cook them. I cooked the cream of wheat and oatmeal together, and this is whole grain cream of wheat. And I just cook them together, and then I freeze them. And these are those cubes. And We're going to have a Minneola. I think that's the right way to say it. Y'all see my time back there? We slept late, y'all. In fact, it's going on 9:30. Anyway, we're going to have this instead of an orange. I have not had one of these before, and I'm really hoping they don't have seeds in them. So we're going to find out if they do or not. I'm really hoping they don't. That way I can put the whole thing in with no problem. And of course they remind me, the way I'm peeling this reminds me of tangerine. Those little mandarin oranges, of course, don't have any seeds, so that's good. Let me get my compost container there. Alright, we're going to find out. Let me turn y'all down so you can see. I'm just going to cut this in half and see if there are any seeds. And they're not. Great. And just throw the whole thing in. Now we're starting out with 2 large handfuls of baby organic greens, and this is the spring mix. And I noticed that in the Walmart brand, they are really packing those greens in there. So I get 2 big containers of the greens really a week, and we have those in salads and always in the smoothies. I'm using the last of the celery that I had because I bought new celery. I guess Tuesday I went to the market, I think. Alright, go ahead and put this banana in too because it's all thawed out. I'm going to squeeze that end out and then just squeeze the whole thing. I love to take this because I even impressed myself with this. Watch this. Voila, no strings. Okay, this morning we're using a whole cucumber. Now I peel that because it had a lot of wax on it, y'all, and I just don't like that because how clean is the cucumber when they put all that wax on it? I don't know. So I mean, the best idea is just go ahead and peel it. So I'm putting a whole carrot in. This morning I need a different knife too. Here we go. We'll use this knife. And the Vitamix does just grind all of this stuff right up so you don't even know what's in there. So what I'm trying to do is sort of a copy of that smoothie that I did last week sometime, I think, or even before that, where I put the half a cucumber in it and, wait, let me turn this up, half a cucumber, and it tastes like honeydew. For the world, it tastes like honeydew, and I loved it. So I'm using the grapes I found. These are those really dark, they're not the purple grapes, they're still red, but they're really, really dark, which means they're super healthy. Alright, so I'm dumping those in. Oops, I think I got a stem there. And 2 of those apples, I peeled these a while ago, so they're already kind of turning dark. Mash those down. Yeah, I'm going to have to grind up some of this before I get started. That cucumber smells so good and fresh. Can't wait to try this. Alright, before I put the rest of that stuff in, I'm going to have to grind this up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put the water in. I'll just go ahead and put a cup and a half in there. Alright, now y'all bear with me here. I've got to grind this up a little bit. Just a little bit, and then I can put the rest of this stuff in. So hold on just a second. Alright, that's enough. Now we're going to definitely have overage this morning, which is what I'm looking for. So we're going to put the cubes of the cream of wheat. Get that all in there. That's the dates, the cream of wheat, the coconut pulp, and that'll keep everything cold. I got to get the rest of this almond butter out of there. Now I've got my peanut butter out, y'all, but I'm not going to use it. So I'll get all that out. All right, now we're ready to grind it up for real, and cut the camera off, and I'm going to get my ice tray. So we'll be back in just a minute. Bye. Okay, y'all, I've already tasted of it. It tastes like honeydew. Now, I'm not talking about the honeydew that you get in the store in the wintertime. Let me turn this up. I'm talking about a honeydew that's just been picked, that's perfectly ripe. That's what this tastes like. Can y'all see that stuff? There's a little bit of kind of a yellowy color floating on the top. That's from the skin of the dates. That's what I figured out that was. But of course that's good fiber. I went ahead and got out 2 ice trays because I think I'm going to have a little bit over for one. Yeah, this tastes just like honeydew to me, y'all. And Mr. Bucky thinks it tastes like honeydew too. Really good honeydew melon. That's what it tastes like. And I did not put any peanut butter in it. Don't tell Mr. Bucky. He won't know the difference. Because when they taste really good, he never says anything. If they don't taste all that great, he'll say, "Did you put peanut butter in this?" So, yeah, so I had an ice tray and a half of overage, which is really good. Yeah, so we'll have that on Sunday, y'all. Alright, I already know what it tastes like. Here's what it looks like. And those little specks in there are the skin of the grapes and probably a little bit of the dates. It's not cucumber, y'all. It's honeydew. Yeah, that's what it tastes like to me. Exactly like honeydew. Really, really good honeydew. I don't like the kind that you get in the store in the wintertime. I think they're pretty tasteless. But honeydew are very good for you. Probably the healthiest melon is going to be honeydew because of the super high content of potassium. That's why they're so good for you. But anyway, this is great. Okay, I can't think of anything else. Mr. Bucky said I have to plant the garden today, y'all. I have to, because we're supposed to get more rain tomorrow, and he wants everything in the ground before that rain happens. So I've got everything out. I don't know where I'm going to plant the different things he's drawn out. I'll show you. Hold on. He's drawn out a little map of it, and anyway, he planted, this is our garage, and this is my neighbor's garage. And right in this area, we weren't going to plant anything, but he put those onions in there. Some of them had sprouted. So in fact, I'm going to use some of the tops of some of those green onions to put in the chicken gumbo today. So anyway, he went ahead and planted those. He said, "I want you to know I went ahead and planted those onions for you." So he's a little irritated, okay? But, anyway, we're going to get it done today. So we'll see y'all later on. I do want to videotape the chicken gumbo when I make that. And I'm going to plant the garden. That's it. He says I got to do it today. So, anyway, we will see y'all later on today. All right, bye.